is Yasmine Ponle Okujeto. I'm a Nigerian born in Ghana. I was born with 2 invisible disabilities. One is sickle cell anemia and the other is a learning difficulty called dyslexia.
Yasmine has seen it all. What you cannot control, you learn to live with. This, precisely, is what Yasmine has done and is doing. A sickle warrior and prayer warrior. Yasmine's strength comes from her faith in Allah. Allah loves those who pray to Him in times of trials. If we do not put our request to Him, who then do we ask for assistance?
Growing up with sickle cell, it's not something that I can say it hasn't been a breeze. Sickle cell challenges you. It has pushed me to the brink of insanity so many times. I was actually diagnosed when I was 3 months old, but as a child, my first recollection would be, I think, between the ages of 7 and 8, where I watched a movie called The Little Mermaid. There was a song in that cartoon where the Little Mermaid was frustrated about her being in the sea. She wanted to be on land, and she was frustrated about her being different. Basically, she wanted feet, but she didn't have feet. She had flippers because she had to be in the sea. And that kind of described my frustration as a child, because there were so many things I wanted to do that I was limited thanks to sickle cell. For example, I remember there was sports day in school, PE, and I wanted to run like everyone else. So I forced myself and I did run, and in the end I ended up in hospital. It was frustrating for me as a child. I just wanted to be like everyone else, but unfortunately I couldn't. The simplest way I can describe it is the fact that my red blood cells is not like everyone else's. So it means that my red blood cells, instead of being round like everyone else's, it's formed like a half sickle, like a crest, like a half moon. What red blood cells does is to take oxygen to different parts of your body. But mine, because it's a semicircle, cannot carry the blood through. So I go into something called sickle cell crisis, which is excruciating pain. Like, I can't even begin to describe the pain. I mean, this is the kind of pain that you sometimes wish for death, because the pain is so bad. It is so bad. Last year, I remember I was ill last year, and by the time I was leaving Ghana, I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk anymore. And I remember as I laid in my hospital bed, I remember saying, you know what, I'm done. Allah, what is the plan? You know, what game are you playing? Do you want to call me home? If you want to call me, then just do. I'm tired of this game, because it's been 37 years of pain. I remember that prayer so well, because I was crying. I was tired. I was exhausted from pain, from missing my pet, my mom, and just missing my daughter, because I was in a hospital bed in South Africa. And I was in a country that they didn't even understand sickle cell. So I was educating the doctors and nurses about how to look after me, and I was in pain. And then I was dealing with the emotional of, I didn't want to worry my siblings, I didn't want to worry my mom, so I was on the phone with them telling them everything is okay. So for me, having this condition sometimes, it's been frustrating, to say the least. But I go through my ups and downs. I don't remember that I've got sickle cell when I'm working. I kind of forget a lot of the times, which is, I say it's my greatest strength, but it's also my greatest weakness, because I never know when to stop. So I'm a hospitality consultant, a motivational speaker, I mentor people with sickle cell. I mean, there's nothing I don't do. Sickle cell has never limited me. And for me, one of the sayings, I say disability, not inability. I've never been unable. My mom says one thing, there's no stopping your dictionary till you're in crisis. As I said, that is my strength, but it's also my weakness, because it sends me into hospital.
That Yasmine is a phenomenal woman is not in doubt. A free spirit who wouldn't let anything stop her from achieving her dreams.
I have a lot of friends that I know, people I mentor. I know sickle patients that as they've committed suicide. I know sickle patients that have let sickle cell take over their lives. So sickle cell has kind of clipped their wings. Basically, it's, oh, because I have sickle cell, I can't do A, B, C, D. Or because I have sickle cell, A, B, C, D has happened to me. And I have people that do the blame game. So they blame the things that are not going well in their lives onto sickle cell. For me, personally, is an excuse. Not achieving what you need to achieve because of your circumstance. No. My uncle said to me, why do you want to study hospitality? Because hospitality is a standing job and you're a sickle cell patient, so you shouldn't be applying for such a course. And I said, well, that's my passion. That's what I want to do. I've been a hospitality consultant for almost 15 years. And yes, it's a standing job, but at the end of the day, somebody has to do it. And I'm not going to stop because I've got sickle cell. So sickle cell, the crisis is an inconvenience. It's not something that ever stops me. But in the same, I need to also learn to also, when sickle cell, when the crisis is coming, which is what I've learned in this recent time, trying to manage my crisis, trying to manage the sickle cell, because I was also blaming sickle cell, but I should have blamed myself because I wasn't listening. I have it, yes, I know I have it. I need to learn to manage it. So that's what I've been doing this past couple of months. It's been just learning and then listening to my body. So when I'm tired, this time I don't ignore it. I just listen and sleep when I have to. So whatever the circumstance, whatever is going on, whatever you've got, it's just a matter of you finding the best way out, not making excuses for yourself. There are days when I'm depressed like the other sickle cell patients. There are days when I cry. There are days when I feel like talking to somebody and I don't want to burden my family with it. So I look for a friend or I write it down. I write a lot. So if I'm upset about something and I feel like, okay, if I talk to my mom about it, she's going to be upset, or if I talk to my sister about it, or whoever, I just take pen and paper and I write it down. Or I just pray. I speak to God directly. I say, look, God, what's going on with us? I mean, is it that I'm not praying enough? If I pray enough, are you going to make this pain less? If I pray enough, are you going to take this avascular necrosis, which is my hip problem, are you going to take it away? If I pray enough. So I kind of, sometimes I sound or look like a crazy person if you enter my room whilst I'm talking to God, because I'll do my ablution and everything, I'll say my prayers, and then I'll sit on my bed and I'll start a conversation. And when I start the conversation, I know there's been times when my daughter has walked in and goes, Mommy, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm talking to Allah. And she goes, oh, but Ayah is not here. She says Ayah. And I said, okay, yeah, but he can hear me. So sometimes she'll just sit down, and once she sits down, I get distracted, so I stop. But I could just picture the look on her face walking into my room and I'm talking to myself. That's how she sees it. But I have a heart-to-heart. I talk honest. I'm like, Baba God, like, what's up? What's going on? What game are we playing? You know, can you tell me so that what I need to do to make this non-fun part of the game over? And that's one of the things that has really, really helped me in terms of finding myself and dealing with sickle cell. My sickle cell is further complicated by the fact that I'm dyslexic. So dyslexia is a learning difficulty that is quite common, but I wasn't diagnosed till I went to college in England. My teacher took a look at my handwriting and she was like, we need to test you for dyslexia. It was the first time I heard of the word, and I remember going home and doing my research. I wanted to know the meaning of dyslexia. So I found what the meaning was, and I realized that there were three kinds of learning difficulties. There was dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia, but I was diagnosed with dyslexia. They taught me how to learn. For the first time, to be honest, in my life when I was diagnosed, I thought, oh, so yes, I was right. I wasn't stupid after all. It was another form of disability, which is not recognized a lot in this part of the world. Even in the 21st century, it's not really recognized. So you can imagine me growing up in the 80s and 90s. So I was taught how to learn. I was given a laptop. I was allowed to record my lectures, and I excelled in every single academics after that. And I was amazed. I was amazed at how my results were. I remember finishing college and I only got 2 C's or something, and I was very happy. For the first time in my life, I got the validation I needed in school, because I had never ever felt intelligent. And it was exciting for me. So from then on, I started researching, and I took an online course because I found out that dyslexia was hereditary. So my sister was diagnosed, but my sister is a doctor, so it all came together basically. And I remember taking an online course because I wanted to identify it in my child. When I had a child, I wanted to make sure that I gave that child the tools he or she needed to excel. So I took the online course, and so I started running courses, teaching people. I go to schools and speak on dyslexia. I speak to PTAs, I speak to different schools on how to identify and manage learning difficulties in kids. Because one of the things that did for me as a child, not knowing I was dyslexic, was I didn't have self-confidence. I wasn't confident enough in terms of my academics. I was confident in every area, but come on, when your results keeps coming and you're last in your class and everybody laughs at you, as a child, it does a lot to you. It takes away your self-confidence, it takes away your ability, it clips your wings, basically, it clips your wings. So in England, I felt for the first time my wings, I became free and I could fly. And in flying, I excelled in all my education after that. So for me, it was essential, it was important not to let my child feel the way I felt as a child in school. So one of the things I do with my daughter is, even if she doesn't know something, I don't care, basically. Even if I care, I don't show it to her. So I teach her. So I remember once her teacher said to me, oh, she used to know her colors and now she doesn't know them anymore. So I created a game, and the game was to identify colors while we were driving. And I remember telling her the color of a tree is brown, the leaves on a tree are green, and we just kept on doing that. We just kept on doing that and doing that. And I asked the teacher once, so how is Inaya with her colors now? She was like, oh, she's fantastic, Mommy, what did you do? And I said, well, I just taught her at home. I just decided to work on it. So if you know about your child's disability, basically in knowing dyslexia, in understanding it, I took a course, and that course gave me the equipment I needed to be able to understand any failings in my child in terms of her education. So as soon as the teacher spoke to me, I knew I had to create a game. I didn't want her to feel bad. I didn't want her to feel like because she's smart, she's a smart child, she's intelligent. So in her not knowing just her colors, I didn't want her to feel like she was unintelligent. And I have conversations with my child, I don't lie. So I said, okay, your teacher said you don't know your colors, so we're gonna work on it. And that's what we did. And anytime she identified, because she was shocked, Mommy, I know my colors now. And it made her feel good, and it made me feel good. It's essential not to make certain mistakes, because a lot of schools, the teachers don't realize it, but they make the children develop an inferiority complex, basically because that's how I felt as a child. Anytime I meet somebody that is smart, I kind of lose my self-confidence when it comes to that person. So, and I didn't want that for my child at all in any way. Dyslexia can be challenging, but it hasn't stopped me either. Sickle cell didn't stop me, so dyslexia was another thing that I would say I conquered because I taught myself how to learn. One of the things that I always say to people when it comes to sickle cell is people ask me, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and I remember people asking me, what about love? So it's essential for you to know your genotype before this whole love thing starts. There are different kinds of sickle cells. So we have AS. AS is a carrier. We have AC. AC is also a carrier, even though AC is a new gene. It was discovered about 40, 50 years ago. So it's still new for scientists. So ACAS, 2AS is essential for you to know. I mean, as I said, I cannot tell you not to love. Neither can I tell you not to marry the person. Just make an informed decision. I can only share with you how sickle cell has affected me. And in sharing that, I would advise you to make sure you know your genotype. Run the electrophoresis test. Know whether you are AS or AC. If you're either AS, AC, and you feel you want to marry the love of your life, well, I can tell you to go ahead because I can't stop you. But the only thing I can tell you is how it's affected me once again. Love is beautiful, but let me give you a scenario. And the scenario is this. You're both in love. You refuse to listen to anybody. You want to follow your heart. Please, by all means do. But just remember, both of you, your household is a double income household. You have your first child. Your first child is AS. Alhamdulillah. You're happy. Your second child is AA. Wow, amazing. Then your last child comes. You decide to gamble and have a last one, and the child is SS. That is the beginning, the very beginning of it all. You're devastated in the beginning, like, oh my God, oh yeah, but our love will help us sail through. Your double income household will soon become a single income household. Why? Because the wife may need to leave their jobs to look after this child because of constant hospitalization. Remember, you've got 2 other kids to support, and you're spending a fortune in hospital for your other child. Soon, the finances that you had that enabled you to take the children to the other 2 to the playground, now you have to spend that on medication. You have to spend that on hospital bills. So when you're making the decision, please make it wisely, because that child, you will feel guilty for the rest of your life. Every time that child is in pain, every time that the child is looking at you and saying, Mommy, why me? Mommy, why is this pain not going? You would never forgive yourself. And then the 2 of you now, I've seen marriages break down because of sickle cell. I've seen marriages break down because either the man couldn't take it anymore, or the woman couldn't take it anymore, or the frustration would drive you apart. Where is the love then? The love you started with, where is it then? So please, it is essential for you to be sickle aware, know your status, and make the right decisions. I will see you in my next episode to talk about how the various ways sickle cell has affected me, and so many more.
Love is good. We all love love, don't we? But the best love to give to the next generation is a life of love without pain. To this, Yasmine's clarion call is for people to know their genotypes. If you have been inspired by this story, or you want to share your own story as well, send us a message on info@aleeftv.com.